For decades, Ace Hardware has been seen as the friendly neighborhood store that millions of Americans trust whenever they need a quick tool. But behind that simple image is a structure far more complex than most people imagine. A customer tried to return a tool just a few hours after purchasing it. It seemed simple, but he received a strange answer. This store doesn't have the same return policy as other places. When checking the price, he found the item was nearly 30% cheaper at a competitor's chain. Why is it that the same brand has such unbelievable differences in price, policies, and service? Why do some tools bearing the Ace name originate from OEM factories that customers are completely unaware of? And why does the cooperative model, a term few people understand, have such a strong impact on the rights of buyers? This video will take you inside a system that operates almost invisibly to the public to show you what Ace Hardware really is and what tool buyers are never told. Let's get started. From afar, Ace Hardware looks like a retail giant. Uniform signage, identical employee uniforms, nationwide advertising. For many tool buyers, Ace seems to operate under a general set of rules, much like Home Depot or Lowe's. But as the investigative team began to dig deeper, the truth emerged in a completely different way. Ace Hardware owns over 5,800 stores, spread across the United States and many other countries. A number so large that if you placed each store a short distance apart, you would have a chain of Ace stores stretching from New York to near Denver. But what's remarkable isn't the quantity, but how they exist. Ace is not a unified retail chain, but operates as a retailer-owned cooperative. In other words, the stores are not owned by a central corporation. Instead, each store is an independent owner, and these store owners are the shareholders of the entire system. Why does this make customers misunderstand? Imagine this. You walk into two Ace Hardware stores that are only a few blocks apart. They look exactly the same on the outside. Counters, shelves, products, and signs. But behind the cash register, each location can operate according to its own standards. The selling price can vary from a few dollars to several tens of dollars. The return policy is at the discretion of the shop owner. Whether or not price matching is accepted is by no means a system-wide policy. This similarity in appearance and difference internally makes it easy for customers to mistake Ace for a traditional retail chain. The problem probably isn't in the differences, but in the buyer's expectations. Buyers entered Ace with confidence. A large chain would have a unified policy, but the cooperative model creates the opposite reality. Each store has the right to customize. Each store prioritizes its own profits, management, and strategy, and each store has margins that vary according to the local market. That's not wrong. It just doesn't look like what customers expect. And when expectations don't match experience, conflict arises. Why isn't this Ace store like that Ace store? Why are the prices and policies different even though they share the same logo? And it was that particular model that led to another big secret: tools bearing the Ace logo, but not manufactured by Ace. We traced the supply chain, and what came next was even more surprising. During the investigation, one detail particularly caught the attention of the reporting team. The majority of tools bearing the Ace logo, or the system's exclusive brands, Steel Grip, Ace, Living Accents, Home Plus, were not actually produced directly by Ace. This may sound strange, but it's a familiar truth in the modern retail industry. In any major supermarket or retail chain, private label has become a familiar tool. However, in the field of repair tools, where customers often associate brands with durability, this story creates a very different feeling. Many customers share that when they see the Ace logo embossed on a hammer, they automatically assume Ace owns its own factory or has quality standards as strict as those of major brands. But in reality, most of these products come from OEM factories, anonymous manufacturing units that produce for various brands. The Ace logo on the box is just the final step in the supply chain. Put simply, a pair of pliers can be made in the same factory as a cheaper product sold elsewhere. The only difference is the logo attached. Why did Ace choose private label products? From a business perspective, this is a logical step. Private labeling helps Ace better control selling prices, as they are not bound by the listed prices of major brands. Simultaneously increase profit margins, as the cost of purchasing from the factory is often lower than importing branded goods, and make a difference in the store because customers can't find the exact same model at competitors. Essentially, this is a legitimate and common business strategy. However, what creates blind spots is the gap between customer perception and operational reality. Most private label products only state on the packaging, distributed by Ace Hardware, Oak Brook, Isle of Phrase, that could easily lead customers to speculate that the goods are produced domestically or that Ace controls the entire process. While in reality, this phrase only means Ace is a distribution unit, not a production unit. Some buyers only realize this when they find similar products with the same design and from the same factory appearing in another store at a significantly lower price. This leads to a thought-provoking question. When two products come from the same metal stamping point, but the prices are different due to the logo, are buyers paying for quality or for brand recognition? Do you often carefully read the product origin when buying tools? Do you think Ace's private label is a smart choice for just enough items? Or do you prefer a more established, well-known brand? And when it comes to price, things become clearer. Private label is only part of the story. The next section will explain why Ace is often compared to a hardware convenience store and why the prices of many tools are higher than you might think. During the survey process, we also noticed a recurring theme in most Ace hardware stores: location. Ace is often located on small street corners, nestled within residential areas, with many stores just a few minutes' drive from the buyer's home. If Home Depot is like a cargo superport on the outskirts, then Ace is like a tool shop right at the end of the street. This proximity has created a phenomenon that many economists call a convenience premium, or, put more intuitively, a convenience tax. When you need a screwdriver immediately to fix a squeaky hinge, or a drill bit to finish an unfinished job, time is worth more than a few dollars difference. And Ace, he makes very good use of that. Ace stores operate like a kind of hardware convenience store, small, fast, nearby, and not lost among thousands of models like big box stores. This is similar to choosing to buy a bottle of water at the convenience store near your house instead of the supermarket 3 kilometers away, which is more expensive but saves you time and effort. A veteran employee at Ace once said, "Customers come here when they need something right now, not next week." It's not hard to notice that many popular power tool brands like DeWalt, Milwaukee, or Craftsman are priced higher than at Home Depot or Lowe's. The difference isn't always large, but it's enough for discerning buyers to notice. To put it in simple numbers, with the same drill, Home Depot might sell it for the price of dinner for two, while at Ace, that number could go up to the price of dinner at a better restaurant. This difference is not unusual, nor is it a mistake, but rather a natural consequence of the store's prime location, higher operating costs, and a strategy focused on convenience rather than the lowest market price. Part of the reason for the misunderstanding lies in Ace's brand image itself. Uniform signage, nationwide advertising, and an experience that looks like a large chain. This leads customers to expect that prices at Ace should be comparable to or not significantly higher than those at big box stores. But in reality, Ace operates more like a local store system, where each owner has the right to adjust pricing strategies to suit their region. The question is the buyer paying for the screwdriver? Or are they paying for saving 20 minutes of driving and avoiding the crowds in a big supermarket? Are you willing to pay a few extra dollars just for speed and convenience? Or do you always choose the place with the lowest price, even if it's further away? Have you ever encountered a situation where the price of Ace was significantly different from that of major stores? Please share your perspective, as each person's actual consumer behavior is an interesting piece of the story. But convenience is only half the picture. The rest, and what surprises many customers the most, lies in Ace's return policy and the hidden fees that can be applied by each store. And that's where the story begins to get more complicated. If convenience taxes are the hazy mist that prevents customers from noticing price differences, then return policies are like the bottom layer of an iceberg. Only when a problem arises do buyers discover it, and often with a sense of surprise. On Ace's website or in advertising materials, customers often encounter the familiar phrase, "return within 30 days." a message that led many to believe the ACE system operates under standard policies like any other major chain. But as the news team delved deeper, the story took a turn. Some stores offered exchanges within 30 days, some reduced it to 14 days for seasonal items, some charged a restocking fee, and some products were required to be returned directly to the manufacturer, not through the store. If we compare it visually, ACE's return policy is like a map with thousands of small squares, each square colored in by an individual store owner. The chart looks unified from a distance, but the closer you get, the more you see the differences. A customer shared that he bought a saw. He tried installing it at home, realized it wasn't suitable, and went back to ACE to exchange it for a different model. The answer he received: the product is assembled, exchangeable, but a restocking fee applies. Fee: 20 to 30% of the product value. It's like going out for dinner and spending zero, only to be charged an unexpected fee almost equal to the price of a second meal. It's not hard to understand why guests compare it to larger systems and wonder, why doesn't somewhere else charge this? The answer lies at the very root of the ACE model. Each store is an independent owner, and they are allowed to adjust policies to suit their own costs and risks. That's right. It's just different from the customer's expectations. Why is this so controversial? Because customers see ACE as a large chain, from the signage and uniforms to the display methods. But behind that is a co-op model, where each store owner has the right to set their own restocking fee, decide whether or not to accept returns on certain items, apply time limits, and adjust the process for handling items that are no longer in their original condition. The gap between what customers think they will receive and what the model allows is the crux of the controversy. What do you think about restocking fees? Is it a reasonable measure to limit risk for the store? Or is it a detail that should be more transparent right from the point of sale? Have you ever experienced the difference between ACE stores? And precisely because of the inconsistent return policies, the question of price matching, available in some places, not in others, becomes an even more intriguing piece of the puzzle. The next part will show why not every ACE is an ACE when it comes to the price customers expect. Among the points that most easily confuse ACE shoppers, price matching is near the top of the list. It's not because this policy is too complex, but because it doesn't exist as a single policy for the entire system. In many major retail chains, price matching is like a brand commitment, applied uniformly from state to state. But with ACE, the news team discovered something different. There was no official price match policy applied system-wide. Each store has the right to decide whether or not to apply the policy, which competitors it applies to, and under what conditions. This is a direct consequence of the cooperative model. ACE is more like an alliance of many independent store owners than a corporation operating under a single set of rules. Imagine you search online, does ACE have price matching? You read an article from an ACE hardware store in another state claiming they offer price matching. You believe this is a system-wide policy, but when you bring a competitor's price to your local ACE hardware store, the answer could be completely different. We don't offer price matching here. That moment was like opening two doors simultaneously, both bearing the name ACE, but inside were two worlds operating differently. Why is price matching left to local discretion? The reason lies in the practical strategies of each store owner. Some want to compete directly with nearby big box stores, so they offer price matching to retain customers. In areas with few competitors, price matching doesn't offer much benefit, and some places are limited by profit margins from private label, and the owners don't want to deeply discount. All these factors make price matching at ACE not a universal standard, but a micro-strategic decision for each store owner. And when you combine the price differences, return policies, and inconsistent price match mechanisms, the ACE story is far from over. To fully understand the picture, we need a balanced perspective. ACE has strengths that many large systems cannot replicate. That's what we'll continue to explore. After removing the misleading pieces, it's important to look at ACE hardware from a more balanced perspective. Because behind the differences in policy or price, this system still possesses advantages that even large chains would find difficult to replicate. In many surveys accessed by the reporting team, customers highly praise the dedication and practical knowledge of ACE employees. If big box stores often feel like stepping into a giant warehouse, Ace is more like a small workshop where every employee knows every type of screw and every kind of wood glue. For many customers, just the right advice at the right time, like how to choose the right drill bit or nail type, is worth more than a few dollars difference. Each Ace store is locally owned. That means the money spent by customers goes back into that very community. Stores understand the needs of each area, and the image of the neighborhood store is not just a slogan, but a real way of operating. If big box stores are retail factories located outside of town, then Ace is like a familiar neighbor, living in the very neighborhood you pass through every morning. Additionally, Ace's private label products, while not high-end, are quite suitable for common needs: fixing hinges, installing shelves, and handling household chores. With items like single screwdrivers, individual light bulbs, connectors, small screws, Ace is almost unmatched in terms of speed, neatness, and convenience. Enter for 5 minutes, grab the necessary item, and leave. It's a valuable item that many customers highly appreciate. But to make smart purchasing decisions, customers need more than just a positive perspective. The next section will summarize the most practical advice to help you gain more useful tips: what to buy at Ace and what to avoid to save both cost and risk. After analyzing the hidden layers within the Ace model, the most important question for consumers is, what should I buy at Ace to maximize value, and what should I avoid to reduce risk? The reporting team compiled the information into 2 distinct groups based on the pricing, policies, and operational habits of this system. First, let's talk about what to buy at Ace. Small but worth the money. Ace shines when it comes to speed, convenience, and practical advice. The following categories are almost unmatched. First, miscellaneous items. Buy quickly, like power outlets, tape, hangers, mini tools. You walk in for 5 minutes and walk out with everything you need. Second is screws, washcloths, and small components. Many Ace stores sell items individually or in small packs, something big box stores rarely offer. Third, items requiring direct consultation. For example, choosing the right drill bit for the material, the appropriate glue for damp wood, or the best primer for the local climate. And also those items that are in small quantities and don't require deal hunting. The items you need right now, not waiting for a sale or finding the right model. Ace is like a quick repair shop right in the neighborhood, ideal for small tasks. But beside that, there are things that are better to consider buying elsewhere. Avoiding paying extra convenience tax. Some product categories are not suitable for Ace's pricing model, such as major power tool brands. DeWalt, Milwaukee, and Craftsman lines are often cheaper at big box stores or online. There are combo kits and battery kits. This is the group with the most significant price difference, especially during promotional seasons. Additionally, materials for large projects such as paint, wood, and building materials are often distributed by big box stores at a more optimal price. And also, expensive items require clear policies. Because Ace's return policy varies by store, high-value products may face unnecessary risks if a return is needed. What do you usually buy at Ace? Have you ever encountered a situation where an item at Ace was more or less expensive than expected? Share your perspective. Every story sheds light on the consumer landscape in the tool industry. And then, when all the pieces are put together, is Ace truly the villain or just a victim of the buyer's misplaced expectations? Ace Hardware isn't exactly a giant shrouded in mystery, but rather a complex system where customer expectations sometimes don't align with the way the cooperative model operates. Only when we understand each layer of the story do we see that Ace has both easily misunderstood limitations and truly valuable strengths. And finally, the decision of where to buy and what to choose is always the consumer's choice. Have you ever encountered situations where the price, policy, or origin of a product surprised you? Please share your story in the comments section. Every comment helps make the discussion more complete. If you enjoy investigative journalism-style analyses like this, please like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next videos. This video is for public information analysis purposes only, is for reference and business model explanation, does not make accusations, does not make false claims, and does not represent any organization or business. All conclusions in the video are based on published data and analytical perspectives. Thank you for staying with me until the end. See you in the next videos.